Hey, BookTube, Sean here. This is going to be my part one November wrap up. I've actually, at this point, finished enough books to justifiably do a part one wrap up. I've finished 3 books, which is what I've been finishing in an entire month lately. So figured I hadn't talked about anything I'd read in a while, so I figured I'd knock these out and catch you up on anything for the last half of the month at the first part of December. So the first book I finished this month was Exorcist Falls by Jonathan Janz. I buddy read this with Stephanie, that's what she read. And you guys know how much I love Jonathan Janz. You even know, if you saw the Week in Books video I did, that I was really enjoying that book. It comprises a novella and a novel. And I had finished the novella portion, which is called Exorcist Road, and was blown away by that. And the book portion did not disappoint. I absolutely loved this book. Jonathan Janz has cemented himself as one of my favorite horror authors. His ability to just tie everything he talks about in there's nothing wasted. Exorcist Falls. Exorcist Road, the novella Exorcist Road is about a boy who gets possessed, and also a serial killer called the Sweet 16 Killer. Now, in the novella portion of Exorcist Road, we deal with a very exorcist feeling situation, but Jonathan Janz adds to that with this mystery of the Sweet 16 Killer, and by the end of Exorcist Road, we know who the Sweet 16 Killer is. So the book portion, Exorcist Falls, is dealing with the aftermath of that and what happens to the demon that was possessing the boy, and the father trying to do whatever he can to bring who he knows is the Sweet 16 Killer to justice. That's the best way I can put it without spoiling anything. Like I said, Jonathan Janz, I've said this before, his character work is second to none. He knows how to develop character in a horror novel. And everything that he talks about in the book, there's a certain point, there's a story that's being told in the book that you think, okay, this is just character background. This isn't going to tie in. This is nice character background, but it's probably not going to tie in to the rest of the story. It ties in. So, yeah, he has cemented himself as a favorite author. He has his backlist coming out from Flame Tree Press starting in December. Pre-orders are available for the first 4. December's one a month: December, January, February, March. Pre-orders are available for all of them. I have pre-ordered each one that's available for pre-order. I still have his Children of the Dark to read, and I also have a couple novellas that I bought on my Kindle to read. So expect more Jonathan Janz from me in the future. I will try to keep the gushing as minimal as I can. But yeah, he's just blown me away. The second book I finished is the audio book for Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by Caitlin Doughty. This is a memoir about her time working in a crematory and what it taught her about the way humans relate to death, and how it eventually frameworked and led her down her own career in the death industry. This was really good, and I recommend it on audiobook. I'm learning that I'm not the best audiobook listener. Audiobooks don't work for me as well as I would like them to. I just usually, like, I'm listening to them in the car, and the car is a lot of the time, especially if I'm alone in the car, is when I do a lot of thinking too, and planning of stuff. And so my mind tends to wander, and I'm really learning that literary fiction does not work for me on audio as much as I would like it to. There's a lot of it I would like to get to, and it'd be easier if I could knock some of it out on audio, but I drift off, and I end up having no idea what's going on. And even listening to it at a higher speed to try and force my brain to focus on it, it doesn't work. So as much as I would love audiobooks to be a viable option for me to get through a lot of books, they're just not. But if the narrator is really engaging, then that helps. And Caitlin Doughty reads her books herself, and she does a really good job. And I was just captivated by this memoir of her time in the crematory, and what it taught her about the way we handle death and our relationship as humans to death, or even our relationship as Americans to death, versus other cultures in the world. It's just fascinating. I highly recommend it. I'm pretty sure I gave it 5 stars, and she's got a new one out called From Here to Eternity, that I want to check out too, and I'll try to do that one on audio as well, just because I really enjoyed her telling me her story. So that is Smoke It's in Your Eyes by Caitlin Doughty. The third book I finished, I actually technically, as I'm talking to you about this, have not finished it yet, but by the time you see this, I will have finished it, or I will be finishing it the day you're seeing this. I only have a little over an hour left in it, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about it now. It is Everyone Knows You Go Home by Natalia Sylvester. This is shortlisted for the Reading Women Award. If you don't know what that is, Booktuber Kendra Winchester and her friend Autumn have a podcast called The Reading Women. You may have seen a video I did midway through the year about the Reading Women Challenge, and books that I was going to try and read for that. I'm not going to complete the Reading Women Challenge. I'm going to try to next year. They've already released the 2019 challenge, and now that I know about it well in advance instead of halfway through the year, I'm definitely going to try and do that. Next year, I'm going to try to do that. And if the prompts are good for the Book Riot Read Harder Challenge, I'm going to try and do that along with it. But Book Riot Read Harder Challenge, another challenge I'm not going to end up completing this year, just because of the way my relationship to reading went for a few months. More than just the slump I was in. But anyway, Everyone Knows You Go Home is shortlisted for the award that they created a couple of years ago, the Reading Women Award, to celebrate books by and about women. They call it covering the other half of the literary world that doesn't get as talked about as much as stuff by men. But Everyone Knows You Go Home is I'm going to do my best to try and explain this, because I'm even still processing it. But let me get a sip of tea. Everyone Knows You Go Home starts on Isabel and Martin's wedding day, and I wasn't sure how I was gonna slip into literary fiction after so much horror, but this book made it really easy, because first couple pages of the book, it's Isabel and Martin's wedding day, and they got married on Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, and Spirit of Martin's father shows up in the backseat of the car. So boom, transitions me nicely into from horror into literary fiction, because it added a speculative element to it. So that was perfect. But Martin's father, Omar, is estranged from the family. He disappeared without a trace. His mother and kids, or his wife and kids, no idea what happened to him. So it's surprising that he shows up in the backseat of the car on his spirit shows up in the backseat of which tells Martin that his dad is dead, which he didn't know. So this book it's about several things, and that's what I'm really liking about it. It's about Omar, Martin's father's what he needs to do to put his spirit to rest. It's about family relationships. It's about Omar and his wife came up. I want to say I without the book in front of me, and it's on my Kindle. I want to say they came up from Mexico, but I don't think that's right. I think it's a country a little bit further south than Mexico, but they snuck across the border with a coyote. So it's about immigration. It's about it's about the immigrant, the challenges of an immigrant, both today and in the Reagan 80s, because the book alternates chapters between now and the 1980s when Omar and Elda came to America, and now and in today, Martin's cousin has come to America. So now there's a story involving Omar and him, and before he made it across the border, and it's very complex, but very well done and very, very approachable in its complexity. And I'm really, really enjoying it. I highly recommend it. I know Derby at Derby Lane Reads. She gushed about this book, and that's how I first became interested in it. And then when it popped up on the Reading Women shortlist, I'm like, okay, something's telling me I need to read this book now. I was absolutely right. It's kind of putting me into a literary fiction mood, which I kind of get into in the winter anyway. So I actually think I might want to try and read the rest of the Reading Women shortlist, but I'm going to talk about that in another video. I'm going to do a kind of what I'm looking at for the rest of the year video, actually, after I get done recording this one. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think. If you've read any of these, let me know your thoughts. If any of these sound interesting to you. If I did a shit job explaining Everyone Knows You Go Home, let me know. I actually didn't mentally prepare for this video. I just ended up with time to record. I was supposed to have a meeting tonight that got pushed to tomorrow. Well, tonight's Thursday. I was supposed to have a meeting tonight, and it's been snowing all day, so we pushed the meeting to Friday night. So I ended up with time to record that I didn't think I was going to have. So that's why I went ahead and just talked about this, even though I haven't. Everyone Knows You Go Home, because even though I haven't finished it yet, but I know I'm going to finish it tonight, either tonight or tomorrow morning or something. Anyway, thank you to all my subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you. I honestly, truly do. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, welcome. I'm happy to have you. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did and you'd like to see more, click the subscribe button so you're sure to know when I post new videos. And I will see you all in the next one.